Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, in the US, the home health market is witnessing considerable growth. One company which is operating successfully in the space is Signify Health, and as a result, the company recently announced plans to grow to 200 jobs in Ireland. Michelle Concannon is the Senior Vice President of Engineering at Signify Health, and she joins us now to delve deeper into this emerging space. Michelle, we'll be discussing Signify Health and its continued growth in the Irish market. But first, I'd like to get an insight into your own background.
Good morning, Karl. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. Sure. So at this point, I've spent about 22 years, I guess, as a technology leader across various different technology organisations, both here in Ireland and in the US. I guess a number of different roles in Galway, both in telco, contact centre, and moved to the US with Cisco in 2013 and came back to Dublin to work at a US health services company for the first time called Optum, and most recently at Microsoft.
And talk to us about your time at Microsoft and the experience which you garnered during that period.
Sure, yeah, Microsoft, it's a fantastic company to work for sure. I think for me, in my role there, I played a role as a leader in their Microsoft digital organization, and really I got huge exposure there to the full breadth of the business, so to speak, for Microsoft, and really was applying the technology internally to that company and looking at ways in which we could share those learnings with the broader markets and inform our product offerings through partnering with the other product teams at Microsoft. I would say the two big takeaways for me during my time there, because it was a slightly different role for me than pure product development, was the importance of those partnerships and not just working in a silo from a technology perspective, but really getting to grips with the operational side of the business and all the other functions that it really takes to run a company like Microsoft. And additionally, something that's been always close to my heart is the culture. Microsoft speaks about growth mindset and really how important that is. And I think that's something that when it comes to building a team, again, something that we're looking at as we build out the side of Signify Health, but that's one of my big takeaways from Microsoft, the value in investing from the top in building healthy cultures and creating that kind of learning, that growth mindset as you're doing that.
So talk to us about your current role in Signify Health and what appealed to you about this company.
Sure, yeah. So I recently joined Signify Health as an SVP of engineering to build and lead a global technology team across Ireland and the US, partnering with our business again to deliver technology-enabled health services. And as I always say, as a mere technologist, I've always found that working in healthcare is hugely rewarding from the point of view of the purpose the role serves, and really, truly day-to-day impacting people's lives, as well as having the opportunity to solve some of the most complex technology challenges. Really, Signify embodies the best of both worlds, I would say, as a technology professional. And then there was the attraction for me personally of moving back to Galway, which I'm a native of.
So what does Signify Health do, and what markets is it currently operating in?
Signify Health is a technology-enabled health care services company. And effectively, it operates in the US market today, even though the model has synergies in other companies. Our focus is purely US at this point. We have a network of 10,000 doctors and nurses that go into 2.5 million homes in every county of the US, and that number is growing, making us the largest scale provider of in-home health services across the US. And effectively what we do is we go in and capture people's conditions during an hour-long assessment, where people don't need to leave their own home, and then we work to manage those conditions. And when I speak about conditions, it's not just clinical conditions. So while we're in the home, we're able to determine whether a member is taking their medication, adhering to their care plans, whether they have access to food, shelter, whether they're in domestic violence situations, suffering from mental health conditions, and act on that assessment. So really, it's a much more holistic view of a patient and make referrals based on that assessment.
And how would you describe the client profile in the US market?
So primarily we focus on the Medicare population, which would be the senior, so the over 65s, kind of as an analogy here in Ireland. And, it's part of the US Medicare CMS, so it's the Centre for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Really, we are partnering with the payers that are delivering those services to that elderly population across the US.
And is this service in the US government funded, or is it all paid for by the patient themselves?
It really depends. I mean, so the CMS model is government funded. There are programs where they can add on to that in what's called Medicare Advantage. Right now, we're primarily focused on the Medicare piece, but we do partner on, or we are partnering on some of the MA scenarios as well.
And in practice, how does the Signify Health platform work and what benefits can it deliver?
So from a platform perspective, really, we provide a lot of kind of analytics-based technology services. So think about it in its best sense. So we go in, the clinicians they use iPad devices that we are providing in terms of technology. We partner with medtech companies, so we run some certain diagnostic tests in the home. So spirometry tests to diagnose COPD, diabetes tests, some of which we can provide results for on the spot, some of which we partner with those third parties and get lab results back later on. But we also help the providers that are running what are called value-based care programs to really determine what is the next best action for that patient. So it's getting to preventative, proactive diagnoses versus waiting for that patient to end up in a healthcare facility, which is obviously going to drive up the cost of care. We're more focused on helping create better outcomes for the patients and getting ahead of that in what I say are these value-based care models, which is trying to get ahead of what's traditionally called fee-for-service, where the providers are incentivized to deliver better outcomes. And that's the technology and analytics platform that we're helping those providers transform their care practices into these value-based care models.
So talk to us about Signify Health's presence in Ireland and the operations which are undertaken in Galway.
Yes, Karl, we're very excited about Signify Health's expansion outside of the US. So myself and Elaine Murphy, our site leader in Ireland, came on board in April and May respectively. And we've built a team of 25 at present. We're at 30, I guess, by early November, hoping to get to 50 this year and up to 100 next year. Beyond that, it's anyone's guess in terms of the expansion. But we had our full executive leadership team here in Ireland last week. We went out to the University of Galway. We had some great conversations around ongoing research partnerships, graduate pipelines. So we're very excited about what the future looks like. And really, the leadership team are fully invested in delivering and standing up, autonomous, I suppose, real thought leadership here in Ireland. My role is global. And certainly I've been given, a huge amount of executive support and reach since joining the company. So we're very excited about the future here in Galway.
And Michelle, apart from you being a Galway native, of course, what were the other reasons why Signify Health decided on locating in Galway as opposed to in any other county across the country?
Our executive leadership team did a lot of, global, international searching before they landed on Ireland in the first place. Talent is a huge answer to that question, certainly from the university ecosystem locally. Obviously, there's a lot of med tech in Galway as well, so that's another kind of great reason that potentially there's some other partnerships. But additionally, our CTO, Josh Builder, has had experience with Galway before in a previous role at Rent the Runway. So he has had first-hand experience of the talents locally as well. But I would, over the kind of macro view of that, really the overall ecosystem, talent, university, medtech relationships, and of course the support that we've had as well is phenomenal from the IDA.
So it was recently announced that CVS Health had acquired Signify Health. What will this mean from a growth perspective?
Yeah, so we're really excited about the partnership here in the sense that CVS are really an ideal partner given their focus on expanding access to health services and helping consumers navigate to the best cares of sight. So, we're both looking at building an integrated experience that supports some of that proactive, preventative, holistic approach to patient care that I talked about. And from an Ireland perspective, it really, it was a huge part of the conversation. So we're very excited to hopefully get our CVS ELT here as we open our state-of-the-art facility in Galway next year at Bottom Key.
And do you expect Irish operations to grow over the coming years? And if so, what volume of jobs could be coming on stream?
Yeah, so we certainly do. I mean, again, officially we are looking to get to 125 roles next year. We're very focused on what I would say quality versus quantity, but that's the kind of end of next year target. Our CEO, Karl Armbruster, did interview the Sunday Independent and shared that he's aiming for 200 staff by 2024. Again, like everything, that will depend on progress. We're highly focused on hiring the best of the best, and we would love for folks to go and look at the tech jobs that are online. We're hiring across a number of different roles, and you can find them at signifyhealth.com/Ireland.
And of course, as you said, one of the key reasons why Signify located in Galway is because of the local university infrastructure and its focus on medtech related programmes, and of course the cluster of medtech companies in that area as well. So just on that basis, how does Ireland compare from a talent perspective when you're comparing Ireland to the international market?
The talent in Ireland is second to none. And I say that from personal experience, having worked both in the US and in Ireland. Obviously, there's very strong talent pool as well in the US, but it's getting more and more challenging to find that talent. So, one of the real appeals here is, I guess, for me and for our executive leadership team, is the graduate pipeline. We've got a lot of strong senior talent here. There's a huge ecosystem. There's a lot of diversity, not just in Ireland, but from the accessibility to kind of the European talent pool. So the opportunity here is enormous, and we're very fortunate that our ELT recognises that. We look forward to capitalising on it.
And finally, Michelle, what are the emerging trends in the home health space?
Our mission as a company is to build trusted relationships to make people healthier. People want to stay in their homes. The opportunity is vast from the point of view, if you think about all of the remote monitoring and the devices that we can ultimately leverage over time to detect more and more conditions. So things like falls, it goes beyond condition-centric tests. Remote monitoring, IoT devices in the home, edge computing, the emergence of AI, and being able to leverage and connect all of those different data sets, which is one of the big technology challenges within Signify. How do you create that longitudinal view of a patient, not just with their clinical information that we're getting from providers or from claims, but from the actual data that's generated in the home? And that is where ultimately, we see healthcare moving to the home fundamentally over time. And the more of that data that we can acquire and gather through those consumer-based devices as well, the healthier that we can keep patients.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Michelle Concannon, the Senior Vice President of Engineering at Signify Health. And I'd like to thank Michelle for sharing her insights into the home health market with us this morning.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.